get started?
You got the cold open.
Give us your brilliant cold open you said you had.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so my girlfriend just got a new dog, which is super exciting. His name's Bingley.
It's not a video game.
Oh.
No, it's not a video game, but...
Bingley, like from Pride and Prejudice?
Yes.
Yes.
But anyway, so as we were... I was calling my mom today because the dogs... She already has a dog, and they're kind of going at it. So I was calling my mom looking for dog help. And my mom was like, Rachel, my girlfriend, you have to be like the alpha in like the situation. You got to like take control. And she's like, Seth, you just have to be the beta or something. I don't know. So my mom called me a beta in front of my girlfriend. And that was not not a fun experience. Because now my girlfriend just keeps calling me a beta male and I don't know what to do about it.
Just accept it. That's
in a
your
million
nature
years,
anyway.
I would have never guessed where that story was going.
Anyway, hi, welcome to Overthinking Games, a podcast about what video games can teach us. As noted by the story, my name is Seth. I am not a beta male, except if you ask my mother. I am joined by my two co-hosts.
Hi, I'm Katie.
Hi, I'm Dempsey. I'm wearing a Hawaiian shirt today. I decided to wear more Hawaiian shirts. That's like a thing that I'm doing
I love that
now.
for you.
Okay.
I'm wearing a headband because my hair was messy. Woohoo!
Dempsey, don't you live in like one of the Dakotas?
Yeah. I wear a Hawaiian shirt with hiking pants and then like dad sandals.
Well, the uniform is complete. I'm wondering
Yeah, that
if I
tracks,
should
actually.
buy on the Steam sale. I'm wondering if I should buy the Nonary games. I've heard those are really good. I'm wondering if I should buy.
Oh, hey everybody! It's the Steam sale.
It's the Steam sale, and I'm wondering.
Well, yeah, for you, the Steam
if I should
sale will
buy
have been like 6
Crosscode.
months ago. You won't even know
Well.
which Steam sale this is.
That's a good point. Anyway, our topic for today, also to I guess actually date the podcast. The Elden Ring DLC released late last week, and I was first on board to play it, and I was mostly finished by the time Monday came around because
Nice.
I put absurd hours into it, like Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. And I kind of haven't stopped playing Elden Ring since then. It's kind of just been all I've been doing. Fantastic game. Don't get me wrong. Elden Ring is pretty good. Anyway, the idea of what I want to talk about today is spoiler culture. Big deal as when the Elden Ring DLC comes out, everybody's like, whoa, I don't want to hear anything. I don't want to know any spoilers. I don't know anything that happened. One of my friends would not hop into online party chat with us because he was like, I don't want to get spoiled for anything. I don't want to spoil anything for anybody.
Does your friend group suck and they would give spoilers, or?
No, but also, like, dude, we're experiencing this piece of media together. Like, let's do it together instead of like do it separately and then come back together talk about it.
Mm-hmm. That makes
Which kind of
sense.
annoyed me and led me to want to talk about spoiler culture today. But anyway, first things first, games we've been playing this week, as always. Anybody have anything interesting they'd like to get started with?
Yeah, actually, I've been playing a lot of games lately. Where did my thing go? I was just looking at it. Here it is. I was playing Cult of the Lamb the last, I think I played it for 2 weeks.
Nice.
And I beat it last week. First time I've beaten a game in a while, besides, I think the last one before that was Detroit Become Human, so that was some time ago. Yeah, so I finished it, and I loved it. I wish that I had played it before we did our episode on Subversion, because I think Cult of the Lamb is such an incredible subversion of, like, the farming simulator.
Mm-hmm.
Because you play as this, like, adorable little lamb, and you are, like, doing this, like, very simple base building. You can cultivate food for your followers. You build nice houses for them. You can decorate. You can, put in body pits. You can do all of these neat little things, but you are a cult leader, and so all of your followers are like indoctrinated to follow you, and they do all of your work for you. And you have to keep like the faith level to a certain level. You have to keep their hunger level. You have to meet their, physical needs. You talk to them and you can quote unquote bless them, and it gives them like a faith boost to fill up the faith meter. And then you go off on what they call crusades, which is the fighting side of the game, where it's like a randomly generated, what's that called? Procedurally generated map, like a roguelike. And you go through all the different levels and you beat each stage until you get to a boss, and then you beat the boss, and, eventually you unlock 4 different dungeons. But I loved the combat side of it, but I loved the farming side of it because it was so just methodical and simple. It didn't have any of the like time pressure that I have from Stardew Valley, but it was still ticking all of those boxes of like getting chores done and like tending to all of their needs and things like that. So I loved that side of it. And then on the combat side of it, it was super fun because it was kind of reminded me of Hades in that you go in, you have to select a random weapon, a random upgrade or secondary. And then you go through and you get these tarot cards that are like boons. They level you up, and you like can collect. What's cool though is you can collect like resources for your base while you're out on your crusade, and you bring it back for your little followers. But if you're gone too long, then things start to fall apart at home. And you come back to like dissension, and you have to figure out how to deal with the dissenters. And I just threw them in jail because that seemed the easiest way. But
Fair.
I just loved that the art style was so cute and the farming is so accessible. And then on the other hand, you could literally be the evilest cult leader ever. Like you could sacrifice your followers to eldritch gods. You could do all kinds of really fucked up stuff. I chose to be a benevolent leader because if I were ever a cult leader, I would be a benevolent cult leader. I was like inspiration versus intimidation, but also you're going to jail because I need you to stop spouting lies against me.
Okay.
But I just loved that it was so fucking cute. And the subject matter was so dark. Like you can marry your cult follower.
That seems
and I was
problematic.
That's fucked up, man. And you can like they would come to you and they'd be like, I would like to eat a bowl of poop. Will you help me with this dark desire? And I'm like, I guess. And you'd like fulfill their requests and stuff. I loved it. I loved it all the way through to the end. And when you finish no spoilers. I don't know if it's different if you choose a different route, but the way that I finished the game, I was able to continue my cult. And you also get like a new game plus and permadeath and different things, which I thought was really cool. But I got to the end of it and I was pretty much, I'm like, well, I've done this. I'm done with it now. But I thought it was really well done and not too long. I think it took me 30-ish hours to finish, and I'm a really slow gamer, so so I loved that. And after that, have either of you guys played it, actually?
I've seen like a playthrough.
It's so fun. It's really fun. I really liked it. I think you should try it out if it sounds interesting at all. After that, I've gone to Cobalt Core, which is a really cute sci-fi deck building roguelike. You are this crew that are stuck in like a time loop, and you're trying to get through these different stages, and you're trying to get out of the time loop. But what's really cool about it is you're a spaceship. So similar to like other sort of deck builder roguelikes, you're getting these different cards that have different abilities, but it really emphasizes movement, which is super cool, and like missiles and kind of being like maneuverable. And so I'm really enjoying that. I just made it through my first run through successfully with it. And now I'm getting to the stage where I'm like, well, this is probably not going to be my focus game anymore. I'm probably going to move on to something else and just play this as like my relaxing game. But yeah, it's super cute. I like the art style, and I like kind of its take on that roguelike experience. You've played it, haven't you, Seth?
Yeah, I've Kobo Core is pretty fun. It's a game that definitely requires you to like play it a lot. Because sort of the whole point is like going through the loops to like find new characters and do stuff. But yeah, it's a really good mix of like a sort of like FTL style game with like a Slay the Spire, like deck building sort of shtick. Especially because FTL's getting really old at this point. I forget how long ago FTL
I've never played that one.
FTL is one of the like classic roguelites, but it came out like a long time ago at this point. Yeah, it came out in 2012.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Still a fantastic game for the record, but it definitely some space to fill in the genre.
Yeah, so I've been enjoying that. I'm not sure what I'm going to play next, but it was kind of nice I've been enjoying jumping from genre to genre with games lately, so that's been pretty fun. What have you been playing, Dempsey?
I finished Another Crab's Treasure. Rolled credits.
And do you feel like you found meaning in it, Dempsey?
I feel like it's whatever. It's good. It's a good game. There is meaning in it. If you play it, you will know that there is a moment where it becomes a totally different game. Like, the difficulty increases to an absurd degree, and the tone like radically shifts. And like there's a specific moment, and if you play the game, you know what I'm talking about. And it's like the last 20% of the game, maybe like the last like 20 to 30% of the game, but it took me longer than like the first 70% because of how much more difficult it gets. And also,
did you feel pressured to finish it because you got ratioed on TikTok?
Well, I wanted to see where the story was going. It takes a really interesting turn at that point too. Like it gets a lot darker and a lot more like eldritch, I guess, eldritch.
Fair.
And so that's interesting. I was not up for the difficulty that it wanted me to do, so I used the gun 3 times. Because I was done with it at some point. So I would use the gun to skip boss, like halves, like boss phases.
First phase.
Yeah. So that's actually like a really good use of the gun. And it's really interesting because it will have bosses that it feels kind of like are an answer to the gun, because there are some bosses that you cannot kill with the gun. Then the first phase you can, and then you cannot kill them with the gun in the second phase, which I thought was relatively interesting. There are, so if you played Another Crab's Treasure, you know that there is one boss where the only kind of shell it gives you is big, heavy shells. And that whole boss would have been so much better if they just gave you lighter, faster shells. Even if they didn't protect you as much, like even if you have to make the trade-off of like lighter armor does not protect you as much, it was the most annoying boss fight I think I've ever fought, simply because the only piece of equipment it gave you was big and clunky, and you were not as nimble as you could be. So it was either go naked and get one-shotted, which would be an insane thing to one-shot, or have this like incredibly clunky armor. And it was a really unpleasant fight.
I have a question. Okay, so I don't know a ton about this game. I haven't played it at all, but I know that there's some commentary on like capitalism and things like that in this game for sure. I'm wondering, this is me. This is overthinking games, right? So is the point that they're saying you have to play this fucking hard game the way that we tell you to, whether it suits you or not?
Maybe.
Because that's how life is. You have to work. If you're in a society, you have to live in the society by the rules of the society, even if it's not the way that you would choose to do it and it makes you miserable.
Maybe. I mean, a generous reading of the text would give you that, I guess. I think it was just really cruel design. Like, I don't know if I got... and then the last boss fight is a crazy boss fight that I tried like 10 times, and I'm like, I'm just going to pop the boss. So that's kind of how I approached the last 10% of Another Crab's Treasure. It goes in directions that are really interesting. It stays cartoony, just like, it moves from like, I don't know, less SpongeBob-y and more Rick and Morty, if that makes any sense. Like, imagine like a dark episode of Rick and Morty is kind of where it goes to, is kind of the vibes. So
I've never seen Rick and Morty.
Oh, it's a fine TV show. And then I think Another Crab's Treasure has more emotion than Rick and Morty. But anyways, and then I started playing Inscription. And Inscription has been a really pleasant surprise. I don't want to spoil it for Seth.
Yeah, I literally just got it on the Steam sale. I know like a little bit of what happens in Inscription, but not the whole thing.
Yeah.
You've inspired me to finish it because I've never finished it.
That's it. It's a game that I feel very drawn to it, more than most games, actually. Like, I feel like I really want to know what's next.
But then I played it over the course of fucking 2 years, so thanks, honey. Love you, husband.
If you like Slay the Spire, I think you will love Inscription. It's kind of the litmus test for video games. I think it shares a lot with Slay the Spire. I think, and like, the thing about Inscription is like, so it's actually a good game. And that is almost the most impressive part of it. It's like Inscription, but also it's like properly a very good video game.
It executes what it wants to execute really well across the board.
Yes.
Is my take.
Which really surprised me, because I thought it was going to do one thing well and then like, be like a video game or whatever. But no, it's like a proper video game. It's very good.
And it started as a game jam, I think.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
I wonder if
cool.
The first part or the tutorial section was the game jam part.
I think so, yeah.
Because that part, it feels very tutorial-y for like... Anyways, but yeah, I love that game so much. And then, what else am I doing? I don't know. Did you guys watch Alone?
Like the one where they're surviving?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen that.
So that's coming out week by week. And I need to start that. And then also House of the Dragon is coming out. Also, I read... Okay, book review time. So,
good. Me too. Go first.
We haven't met for like a couple weeks. So I listened to a book by C.S. Lewis. Called Out of the Silent Planet. And it's C.S. Lewis doing sci-fi, basically.
Interesting. Does it have awkwardly overt Christian overtones?
So here's my thing. This is theology talk. Let's look at like 1930s, 1920s theology with Dempsey in Britain. C.S. Lewis does not like human beings very much at all. And that's kind of the whole point of this book, is how horrible humans are, but not because we do bad things, just because we are fundamentally bad creatures.
Oh no.
Is what Out of the Silent Planet is. It's about this guy. There are parts of it that I think are really interesting. The best part is like the postscript. It has like the best postscript I've ever like listened to, like read, whatever. But it's about this guy that gets abducted and then taken to an alien planet, and he's a linguist. And obviously C.S. Lewis was also a language person. And so like it's about this guy trying to learn from scratch an alien language. And while he's on an alien planet. And so that's like, it's interesting. in the postscript, he talks about how he wanted to go like more. I wish C.S. Lewis was writing things now, because I feel like he would be such like a lot more dense and nerdy. Because he talks about in the postscript, he talks about, I really wanted to include more of the language, but I felt like I would have lost my readers. And I know like now, like currently,
like, no, there's an audience for that.
No, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, there's an audience for like really dense like world building, and I feel like this book could have used a lot better, denser, more robust world building. And he gave little details about the world in the postscript, and you're like, why didn't you put that in the book? That's where that should have gone. Which I thought was really interesting. But basically, this book has been out for like 100 years, so it's not a spoiler. But but basically, so it does turn into Space Jesus, which is kind of a crazy direction for it to go.
You know, there's another sci-fi reader or author that gets really fucking weird. And it's Orson Scott Card. He's Mormon, and
that's good.
He wrote, So he wrote the one that everyone's heard of, which is Ender's Game. But he also wrote a series called Alvin Maker, and like the first 2 books, it's about being in the New World. And I can't remember, it's been so many years, but I know there's like a sci-fi element, and they're in the New World, and they're like pioneers, which I should have fucking known. But
because they're Mormons.
You get to like the 3rd book, and all of a sudden you're like, oh my God, Alvin Maker is Joseph Smith. Get me out of here.
That's so funny. That's kind of what Out of the Silent Planet feels like. It's you. There is a space Jesus, and basically humans are horrible but there's like several space Jesuses, and humans are horrible because we lost our space Jesus, and now it's a space devil that is telling us what to do, and we are controlled by the space devil. But Mars,
it's as likely
and like,
as anything. Yeah,
but Mars and Venus still have their space Jesus, and so they are filled with good people. And so it's kind of an insane premise. But okay, here's also the interesting element, is that this book was, so like Narnia was obviously like somewhat evangelical, but this book was
it was obviously evangelical.
Yeah. Okay,
Aslan was Jesus.
Yes. So here's the thing about Into the Silent Planet, or Out of the Silent Planet. We are the Silent Planet. We killed our space Jesus. So therefore, our space Jesus is not talking to the other space Jesuses. So that's why we're the Silent Planet, because we no longer have this like demigod that rules over us.
Okay. No one to talk for us in the conference. Got it.
Yeah. It's like all the other planets are connected by these like demigods, but Earth has lost our demigod, and
it's
so we're less.
No moderator for our
Yes.
Discord channel, if the Discord channel is the Earth.
Okay. That's a gross way to put it. But so the thing is, like, I think it was like prior to like the 1930s or whatever, there was a genuine possibility in the popular mind that Mars had like men on it. Like Mars had like not only aliens, but like civilizations on it. Like that was just a thing that people believed. And so then Christians were like, how does this work with Christian theology? Like, did the aliens experience original sin? Did Jesus die for the aliens? Do they have to be part of the 6 days of creation? So Out of the Silent Planet is on some levels a response to aliens within like Lewis's like Anglican Christian worldview, and trying to like harmonize Christian theology with aliens. And it goes to some really strange, unexpected places. But there is a God, like a proper God. And I don't think it's Space Jesus. It sounds like Space Jesus. I think it's going to end up being a space angel. And this idea that like, and there are angels in the book, and they're made out of like photons that have been slowed so much.
He's like, how do I make science and God mesh? There's gotta be a way.
So like in this book, like angels are like Like they're made out of like the electromagnetic spectrum instead of matter. And so you can kind of see them sometimes. And if they want to hear you or if they want you to listen to them, they can make themselves heard or whatever. But only some people can hear them sometimes. And like, obviously, like, you know, having a new take on mythology is, but the thing is, it's weird because so imagine you're reading, imagine you're reading Game of Thrones, right? But you know that George R.R. Martin actually believes in dragons. And you know that the book doesn't completely represent his worldview, but there are some elements that do represent his worldview. And so that's the weird thing about Out of the Silent Planet is like, I understand like reinterpreting mythology in like interesting ways is like a really common thing, and like exploring your personal beliefs through literature is like what all authors do. But he's talking about space Jesus, and he's talking about like angels and things like that, and it's like, I know on some level you believe some of this. And so like I think that really changes how I interact with the text, because yeah, like Murderbot would be different if the author actually believed that her phone was alive. Like that's a different reading of the text.
Well, and I just read the newest one, the newest Murderbot. I just finished it today. And there's a part where she's talking about media and how fictional media, like Murderbot's thinking about this, and how fictional, you know, a story can be fictional but true in all the ways that matter. And I was like, ooh, yes, author, I hear you. You know, those moments where like that is what the writer thinks.
Yeah, and anyways, but it's such a strange.
Did you finish it?
I did, yeah, and C.S. Lewis just has this like just fundamental disdain for anything that makes humans humans. Like the only thing we can possibly be are inadequate, and then the highest good is that people can submit themselves to like a higher celestial sort, which is God or angels or Jesus or Aslan or whatever. And it's the same thing in Narnia. Like the kids are pieces of shit, and then it's Aslan is the one that gives them purpose or whatever. But without Aslan, they're all like selfish, dysfunctional people, and then Aslan
Mostly
comes and
Edmund.
gives them purpose. Yeah. And well, even like Peter and Lucy.
Yeah. Edmund is Judas though.
Yeah. Edmund, but like and so it's the same thing with Out of the Silent Planet. It's like he just has like, it's the least optimistic book I've ever read in my life. Like this fundamentally like, yeah. Anyways, so read it. I mean, if you want to, it's like, it's a cool idea. It's a fun idea. The world building is kind of fun. It's a little bit,
bleak.
Well, no, because that's the thing. It's not. It's like it's deeper than just the tone. Like in Lewis's mind, it's a good thing that humans are awful and we have this salvation. But when you read it, it just comes off as like humans are awful, and then we have to submit to this higher being. So like the tone is not bleak, but I think the implications are bleak.
Okay.
And then, but like it's very much closer to like The Time Machine, like anything H.G. Wells has written.
Fantastic book, by the way. I just read it recently.
That is a good one.
The Time Machine is great. But yeah, it's a lot closer to like that kind of sci-fi than anything modern. So if you do read it, you just be prepared for that. It's, you know, it's good. Anyways, Seth, what have you been up to?
Overthinking games and books.
I've pretty much exclusively been playing Elden Ring. I think this is the last we recorded podcasts.
Did you see it's getting bad reviews on Steam?
Yeah, it's complicated as to why. They've sort of started to kick back. Anyway, general thoughts about the Elden Ring DLC. It's good. You should play it. It's a lot harder than the base game of Elden Ring. Which for some people is gonna, which I knew as soon as I was gonna say, Dempsey's gonna be like, "What the fuck?" But yeah, it is like significantly harder than base game Elden Ring. Part of that is because people don't be reading, and so when the game tells you like, "Hey, there's this new upgrade material that you have to collect, or else you're gonna have a hard time," people are like, "You can't stop me. I can't read," and then they die a bunch, and then they go on the subreddit and complain that the DLC is too hard. So. Long story short, post your Scattertree level because we're going to make fun of you for it.
Scatta tree?
Yeah, there's a big tree in the Elden Ring DLC. It's called the Scadu tree.
Oh, okay.
Scadu tree. Scadu,
Okay.
Scadu. You have to go around the map and collect these little like blessings. They give you upgrades.
How big is it? The map.
It is insane. Goddamn.
Okay.
The developer of Elden Ring was like, yeah, it's like the size of the first area. Yeah, that's a fucking lie. It's like 2/3 the size of the base game.
Okay. Okay.
Like, they dropped a $40 expansion, which, right, you're like $40 DLC. That's crazy. Yeah, it's 2/3 the size of the base game. It's $40. Like, I don't know what to tell you.
Does it integrate
But you were able
at
to
all?
finish it that fast?
Sorry,
Dempsey.
there was two questions there. Does it integrate? Not really. It's kind of like its own thing.
Okay.
Okay. And my question was, you finished it from Friday to Monday? But it's
Yes.
so big?
Well, I played 16 hours each of those days.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So,
That's fair.
yes, but I put like 50 hours into it over the course of like 3.5 days. So,
Okay.
I put an illegal, ungodly amount of time into it.
That's so fun.
And yeah, no, it was a great time. No complaints from me. On our scheduling calendar for me and my girlfriend, I had blocked off Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and I was like, "Listen, I love you. I'm taking these 3 days to play Elden Ring. Don't bother me, or you can come over, but like you're gonna watch me play
I'm
Elden
going
Ring."
to play. Yeah, exactly. Let me just make the expectations clear.
Yes. So that was a lot of fun. Anyway, my only two complaints about the Elden Ring DLC. Number one, the idea of having to go like collect each of these like blessings is kind of mandatory for playing the DLC in like a reasonable way, because if you the DLC is designed to scale based off of your blessing level. So because you're supposed to be playing the DLC with like a post-game character for Elden Ring. So probably like level 150 plus, you're at like 60 HP levels, which brings you up to like 1900 HP or whatever. Like you're playing essentially a maxed out character going into the DLC. So this was kind of like their, hey, collect this other stuff to give you something to do in the DLC. By the time you get up to like the max blessing level, you're taking like 70% less damage, just like flat across the board. Which is crazy and is like an insane amount of damage mitigation to just like give the player. So it's pretty much mandatory that you have to grab those. There's like 50 of them in the world. So like any subsequent playthrough is just going to force you to, and there's no repeats. There's 50 and you need exactly 50 to get the max level. So it's just going to force you to like sit with a map and be like, okay, did I actually collect all of them?
That is
like
me watching
frustrating.
YouTube videos.
Right. That's annoying, but like for a first playthrough, that's not that big of a deal. Otherwise, I only really ran into one boss that I was like, this doesn't feel fair. And it's because like it had a janky hitbox that I was like, there doesn't really seem to be any way to like dodge this or block this. It just kind of felt like anytime the boss did that attack, I was forced to take damage. And that seems to be like the consensus on the subreddit, is that like that boss just has like a stupid attack that's just not really dodgeable easily. So that's exciting. And then the final boss of the DLC is some actual doo-doo. And I kind of had to like cheese the final boss of the DLC in order to actually like get through it, which I don't feel bad about because like, holy cow,
Sometimes you
there's
have
so
to.
much going on the screen. But yeah, no, I mean, it's fun overall. I think it's great. It's definitely worth the $40. I think for most people, if you're like a $1 an hour kind of person, which I'm not really, but if you're a $1 an hour kind of person, you're going to get your 40 hours out of the Elden Ring DLC, which is, frankly, I think more than most people can expect out of like AAA games, is to get like $1 per hour value.
Yeah. So I know you were looking forward to this for a really long time. Did it live up to your expectations?
Yeah, I'm excited for some stuff that hasn't developed yet, which is for the like content creators around Elden Ring to start generating content, because everybody's kind of on like spoiler embargo, which is kind of what initiated my thoughts about today's episode.
Okay,
But,
is it worth caring about the narrative spoilers? Like, is there like story to it that matters?
Yes, and that was going to be my second point, is that there's actually a lot of story about Elden Ring revealed in the DLC.
Oh,
such as
that's
like
surprising, actually.
Yeah, but you kind of have to, it's the same as like baseline Elden Ring. Like if you don't really know like where to find the lore, you're just going to be like, I don't know what I'm doing here, like why any of this matters. Why did I just wander up to this like random village that has no enemies in it? But then like turns out that like random village that has no enemies in it is kind of like a critical plot point for like the entirety of Elden Ring, and sort of gives like character backstory and motivation like all in one, and like propels the whole narrative. Like it's it's one of those things where you're just like, if you know what you're looking for and you care, you're gonna be like, oh, this is actually really important. But if you're like, what am I doing here, you're gonna be like,
Yeah, my favorite way to play, how I enjoyed playing Elden Ring was to go through it and then watch the lore videos afterwards.
So
I was like, this kind of like retroactive context.
Shout out to Lord to Death podcast. If you ever need to know what the deal is after you've played a game, go to Lord to Death and he'll condense it to you in 30 minutes. Or like Dempsey, you can watch 4 hours of a video essay.
Well, and so that's what I'm waiting for. I'm waiting for like the 4-hour Elden Ring video essays to come out, because I have some ideas about like how I would interpret some of the things I read in the game. But like Elden Ring is just such a big game, and all of the lore fragments are so scattered that in order to like understand like one character's story, it requires like reading like 10 different item descriptions from completely like separate areas of the game. Plus there's this like one ghost that if you talk to gives you this one line that kind of is like a connecting piece of dialogue to like link a couple different ideas together. And like that's the stuff that's like cool to sort of figure out while you're going, but in order to really wrap your head around all of it, you need someone to have sat there and like put all of those pieces next to each other in a line so that you can be like, oh, okay, I'm seeing this connection here.
Sure. And that's I think that's impossible to do on a first playthrough, because some of those quest lines are mutually exclusive.
Yeah, some of it's mutually exclusive. Some of it, though, some of the quest line stuff, yeah, but some of like I think the bigger overarching story stuff, I was able to sort of get an idea of what was happening. Like, I guess this is Elden Ring DLC spoilers, but again, it's not going to come out for a good couple of months anyway, so spoiler embargo over, I guess. But there's this area in the DLC where you like just fought this boss. It was difficult. It's kind of in this hard to reach area, and you pull up to this village that you could see on the map, so you like knew there was something there. But then like the music kind of drops. There's this like soft golden glow over the village, and there's like no enemies there. And the music starts playing, and it's like a riff on the menu music and like the final boss music. And I was like, pump the brakes. I was like, we're in an important area. So I like hopped off my horse and I just like walked around. There's only 2 items there in that like whole area. It's this big village. Nobody's there. No enemies. 2 items. You're just kind of listening to like a riff on the final boss music. And I was like, I know this area is important just because it like stands out from like the traditional From Software area experience. And like that's a really cool thing to experience in a game. The sort of like environmental storytelling of there is no environment and you're like, whoa, that's different. Like, hey, everything here is like chill and calm. I wonder why that is. So like some of that stuff you can recognize on your own, but then like how that one area connects into the larger story is the thing that I had to like go online and be like, what is this place and why does it matter? And some turbo nerds on the internet put the pieces together for me. So
thank God for turbo nerds.
Yeah, thank God. I mean, like, listen, we do a video podcast about video games and we're somehow not turbo nerds.
It depends on the day, doesn't it?
As I sit here and I talk about the Elden Ring DLC, but
Yeah. Like, cool. Well, I'm glad that it has lived up to expectations.
yeah, it's great. Anyway, now that we're like 40 minutes in,
I know. Hey, it's all good. This is what the people are here for, right, people?
I don't know if that's true.
We can ask all 70 of them. That's about what we're averaging per downloads.
That's not bad.
70.
I feel like that's great. Hi.
I think that's great.
Hello to the 70.
Hi, 70. We're so glad you're here. Tell us what you think about the DLC.
I saw a really great. Tell us what you think about the Elden Ring DLC. Sorry if I spoiled it, but you're seeing this like 6 months from now. I saw a really great post. This is just general like social media stuff, but it's like, could you imagine if we had like 70 people in like a room with us?
We'd be delighted.
Dude, it'd be fantastic. We'd be like, holy cow, there's 70 people here for our like convention panel.
Yeah, be delighted.
Oh, I have convention things to talk about after the episode. Anyways.
Okay.
Oh.
All right, so on to our topic.
Anyway, on to the topic. So I wanted to talk about spoilers and maybe a little bit about like foreshadowing and everything. So Elden Ring DLC is coming out. I got two friends who I played Elden Ring with when the game came out. We were really excited to all hop into things together. Elden Ring DLC comes out. We're watching like the official trailers together. And, we talk about like, some of the cool stuff we saw in them. And then the DLC comes out and my friends are like, yeah, I don't want to hop into voice chat because I don't want to be spoiled on anything. And I don't want to spoil either of you guys on stuff that you didn't get to see. And I was like, what are we doing? Like, I want to experience this piece of media together with you. Not like, and if I find something cool, I want to be able to show it off. Now, they kind of got over themselves after a few days and we had a chance to like sit down and play it. But I'm sort of curious about your two thought on spoilers, and I'll sort of framework it out. So, would you be bothered if you're like, I'm going to go see a movie, and then somebody spoiled the end of the movie for you when you're in line?
Yeah, well, okay. So for movies, I would beat them up. Yes.
Okay.
Sure.
See, and I'm the opposite. With movies, I don't give a fuck. I don't care at all. I'm like, tell me if the dog dies.
Well, like,
tell me
you're
if that
going
character
to see
makes
a movie. Like you're walking into the theater, and as you're walking in, somebody is walking out, like talking about the movie, and you hear like a spoiler for the end of the movie.
Yeah, of course that sucks.
I can't think, and because part of it is because I have to care about a movie enough to go and see it in the first place.
Okay, that's fair.
So like maybe if it comes to like someone like so I have this roulette wheel where I say I let Jesus pick the movie, and it's a roulette wheel that picks the streaming service, the letter of the alphabet, and then the number down far that goes. And like those are movies that I genuinely like mostly have no connection to, and so maybe I would care less if I knew about those movies, but there is a level of commitment that is going to the movie theater, and I do not do that for most movies. And so if I am going to the movie theater, it's because I want to experience specifically that story.
Well, okay, so I'm sort of trying to focus on like the experience of the media itself. So I mean, even if it's you're like, oh, hey, I wanted to go watch this movie, and then somebody was like, oh yeah, the ending is really cool. Did you hear that like so and so does this? You'd be like,
don't tell me.
Yeah, like don't tell me.
Don't tell me.
Like, and I think that's the normal spoiler experience, right? I don't want to like.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of everybody's reaction to being like, yeah, that's reasonable. Imagine walking into the theater to see like Star Wars Episode 6 for the first time, and they're like, oh yeah, I don't remember what happens in Star Wars Episode 6, but when do they learn that like Darth Vader's the father?
I could not
Episode
spoil
5?
that movie either.
Yeah, see, like we're not turbo nerds. We don't remember what happens in Star Wars off rip. Okay, but so maybe rather instead of like somebody spoiling the end of the movie, what if you're like, you're going to go to a movie, maybe it's for some sort of like movie series you've seen so far, or you've got some like show that you want to watch, and then somebody's like, oh, cool, did you hear like such and such character is in there? How would you feel about that? Because that's not really
That's
like
okay.
a spoiler of like, but it's kind of like a
surprise.
Yeah, it definitely depends. Because so I've been thinking about this. I can and have had Fast and the Furious movie for me entirely spoiled, and I will still watch those movies because I'm not watching them for the story. I'm watching them for like the spectacle, and so I don't feel like it takes anything away.
Formula is already super like obvious. You know exactly what's going to happen and when. So kind of with those sorts of movies.
Yeah. So I think it depends on how much I care about the experience of narrative. Like in John Wick, if I was going to watch John Wick and you told me like the motel owner, or like the hotel owner came back, I don't care. Because I'm still going to see John Wick like shoot people in the head, which is what I came there for. But maybe in the quiet place or whatever, if you're like, the farmer character or like the guy with the boat came back in the third one or whatever, or like John Krasinski's in the prequel, like that stuff I would have rather experienced in the moment.
I think for me, sometimes I can be ridiculous about spoilers, as we know from like the God of War episode, which I never even finished God of War. But to me, the first time feeling of a video game is like really sacred in a way that other media isn't. I care a lot more about spoilers with video games than I do with movies because, well, I like video games more than I like movies, but also because with video games, you get to inhabit that story in a different way because it's so interactive. And sometimes I will ruin things for my own self by being so paranoid about spoilers that then I run into like what your friend is running into, Seth, of not allowing people to have the experience with me because I want sole ownership of my experience. Like with Inscription, I wanted to play that game so much, and I was like, no, I'm going to wait. I'm going to play it with my husband. And then because of the nature of the game, like, it ended up messing it up because I was like, no, we have to play it together every time because it's a story game. And so then because I like games more than he does, we didn't get through it in a reasonable amount of time. Whereas I could have played it a bit on my own and had that. But I'm like, no spoilers. Like, I wouldn't let him have spoilers. He didn't care. But it was like the spoiler zone was sacred.
Yeah, I kind of get where you're coming from.
And I think like the reputation of something has a lot to do with how I feel about spoilers as well. Like Inscription, the reputation is not to ruin it for other people. The same thing with like Outer Wilds. Like the reputation is, or like
don't know anything going in.
Yes. And so I think the reputation sets a lot of the precedents, but like, I don't know, Tony Hawk or whatever, like, I don't know, like, I don't feel that, playing the re-release of the Tony Hawk games, I don't feel like I need to shield myself from spoilers and what the stages are, even though that will be a novel experience. Yeah, I think it's really arbitrary and completely nonsensical. Like it's totally a vibes thing with me. Like when I care about spoilers and when I don't. I don't think there actually is like a reasonable, like I know, like for example, like with Wander Stop, David Reedley's next game. That will, like, I will play that game as soon as I can.
Yeah, completely
specifically blind. To avoid spoilers. Like, specifically so I don't accidentally spoil it for myself for me. That's what I did with God of War, the Ragnarok, and like, but like, I don't know. But yeah, there's totally other games that I know more about than I should because I haven't played the game yet.
Dempsey, you asked me earlier this week, did I want to play It Takes Two? And I'm like, oh yeah, I do. But then I thought, I don't give a crap about the story. I don't care about the story, but I care about knowing how to solve the puzzles. And my husband and I started playing it after you and I started. And I'm like, oh, I kind of want to save the puzzles for when I can play it with Will because he likes that game. And if I already know how to do everything, then that just kind of, I'm already the more experienced gamer, you know? So it's like, it's always.
So do you consider mechanical spoilers? Because I don't think I do. I don't know if there's a mechanic in a game that's so fundamental that I would feel like it was spoiled for me.
If it teaches you how, if it takes away that moment of discovery, moment when you're like, oh, I get it, that like eureka moment, I love that in a puzzle game. I love that. And if I already know how to do it, I'm kind of taking that away from, like, in that case, my partner's experience because I already know how to do it. And what am I going to do? Not tell him how to do it?
In terms of like a puzzle, that seems different because, yeah, like if you go into it, so like, you know, I don't play a lot of puzzle games, but where like the puzzly stuff comes up is I've done like challenge runs in Elden Ring where you're like, the puzzle is sort of this like meta puzzle of like, okay, if I'm going to play Elden Ring and not level up my character, like how do I approach the game under like that sort of mindset? And it's sort of the bigger puzzle. If somebody had just told me like, hey, here's like the best 3 pieces of equipment to use to get through it, well then like there's no challenge. And actually, I mean, there's like mechanical challenge to get through it, but like part of the fun of that is the actual like discovery aspect,
figuring it out.
Yeah, figuring it out.
Has there been a game that you know you've had spoiled for you and you still enjoyed playing it, like going into it? I will, as a kind of an answer to this question, I will intentionally not play games enough in hope, like not play games long enough in hopes to forget about spoilers that I've heard. So this happened with Super Mario Bros. Wonder. And I was not going to play it when it came out, and then I listened to reviews about it.
For that game?
Well, I guess like mechanical things, like you can, like different things you can turn into and different like mechanics that are fun and things like that. And I wanted to experience for the first time. And it has been long enough now where I don't remember those reviews well enough. It would feel like going in blind. So I will intentionally, if I hear a spoiler, the same thing with Inscription. One time I watched a video essay that includes something about Inscription, and I remember being very angry with myself that I watched it, but now I can't remember what it was. And so I intentionally waited long enough to where I would forget that little bit to play the game.
Yeah, I was gonna sort of, my note about that was, yeah, like thinking into, there's a lot of games that before I buy them, like I watch somebody play the game. And especially for like roguelites, it's very easy to like watch somebody play a roguelite and be like, okay, like I want to go play this game now because I watched somebody play it. And even though I sort of like know some of the story elements, the actual like execution of that is sort of what's interesting to me. Roguelites tend to be sometimes like low on story elements. But another good example is when I first played through Dark Souls 3, and I think Dark Souls 1, I had already seen people play those games like front to back. So there wasn't necessarily like anything new in those games that I wasn't expecting to see, but it was still fun for me because like the mechanical execution in those games is
right.
Fun. You don't know what
you're very motivated by like mechanics more so than narrative, aren't you?
Yeah, I mean that tends to be a pretty good characterization of me. Like I enjoy mechanics in games a lot. So Dempsey, it might actually be on the other side of stuff sometimes for you. Sometimes I really do enjoy like playing a game and being like, oh, this is really cool mechanically in this game, and it's cool that I got to like explore that.
Sure.
That might be sort of like the Elden Ring puzzle idea. But yeah, sorry, Katie.
What were you saying, Dempsey?
Have you ever had a game spoiled that you went into and still enjoyed?
I knew the twist on BioShock before I played it because I had watched my brother play it, and I still really enjoyed BioShock, even though I knew the story.
Sure.
I know
BioShock is another one that I have intentionally, because I watched a review of BioShock that mentioned story elements from the latter two, and I didn't want to play it right away, but now I've forgotten what.
Oh yeah.
What those were. It's great to just not have a good memory. That makes
Right. Thank
makes
goodness
video
for
games more
neural
fun.
Tissue and its faultiness. Yeah, I think I am like meticulous in avoiding spoilers. I am really, really careful. Honestly, our conversation about Detroit Become Human was almost a little painful for me because I knew that I was going to spoil lots of different alternate paths. And I just had to tell myself before we went in, like, Katie, it's okay. You've had your experience. It was great. This is going to be a very special experience. And it's okay. Like, I had to self-talk ahead of time because I was like, they're going to have all these different things that happened that I didn't see. I think it's almost FOMO. Like, I want to make sure that I experience everything myself that there is to experience and that I don't hear about it from somebody else. Like, oh, you didn't see that? Or you know, wait till you get to this part. I'm like, no, don't tell me.
Okay, so there was another question I wanted to ask on this, which is, so how do you guys feel about like movie trailers or like video game like gameplay trailers? Like, oh, I get to like watch them play a little bit of this game before it comes out, or like a story trailer. Because you know because before we get into it, Dempsey, because I know you're our sort of like video movie guy. And I know there's always a complaint about trailers that like, oh, they always spoil like the best part of the movie or, you know, like some important plot line. So like, Dempsey, what are your thoughts on that stuff?
Well, I think most of the time, most movies that give away the whole plot are probably not very good movies in the first place. Like a lot of those are like mid-tier, like blockbuster-ish like nonsense, which might be really unfair. I know, like, well, Castaway had a trailer out that spoiled it, so that's not completely true. But if there's a movie that I love, I will often, or I know I'm going to watch, I will often not watch anything past like the teaser trailer. So, like, for example, Nope, with directed by Jordan Peele. I knew I was going to watch it because I really appreciate Jordan Peele as a filmmaker. So I didn't watch any other trailers besides, like, I don't know if I watched any trailer besides like the opening Nope thing, and then I was like, okay, like I'm done. And I think there are some games that I don't want to watch anymore, even though I don't know what the game is yet. So, for example, Devolver Digital is publishing a game called Skate Story. Have you guys seen the trailers for Skate Story?
Mm-mm.
One of the most beautiful games visually I've ever seen in my life. I hope it's in-engine stuff that they showed and like quasi gameplay. But so it's a skate game, and you play as a demon made of pain and glass, and yet you must skate. That's the verbiage in the trailer. It's so good. And I actively do not want to watch a gameplay trailer of that game. It's wishlisted. I know I'm going to get it when it comes out. I want to boot it up and go in like completely blind.
That makes sense.
And yeah, so like Megalopolis, Francis Ford Coppola just like self-funded a movie. He sold his winery and self-funded a movie starring Adam Driver called Megalopolis. And I watched the teaser for that movie, and I do not want to watch any other promotional material at all. So yeah, a lot of times if I am looking forward to something, I become very, very, very spoiler sensitive, especially if I have a pre-existing relationship somehow with it. I think that's the biggest thing for me is if I already have like a pre-existing relationship with it. I think that's the most important element. What about you, Katie?
I don't like it when, like, I don't know if you guys notice on like Netflix and like streaming services, the trailers for shows and TV and movies always are so long and they show everything. I'm like, okay, it's just telling us the whole movie. And I always turn it off. I just love discovery. That's probably my favorite part. So I am very careful. Like, I'll watch the like teaser trailer, and if I see people, like, I really love subreddits for gaming suggestions because people are very careful and like kind of circumspect about how they talk about games a lot of the time on those like game recommendation subreddits. And so that's where I found like a lot of games that I never would have heard of otherwise because I don't really interact with a lot of gaming media because I don't want to be spoiled. So like I found Paradise Killer that way. I found The Forgotten City that way. And those are both games that you're better off going into blind. So I think once you get the vague idea of something and you're like, yeah, that sounds like something I'd be interested in, I wait for a sale and I will play it without knowing anything else about it. If it's a more expensive game, the only game that I bought that was expensive that I didn't really know anything about was Baldur's Gate, but that's because I heard everyone talking about how good it was. And that was definitely a worthy investment. So I definitely think like word of mouth is a safer way to find out about things without actually like ruining the surprise. What about you, Seth?
So
no.
I was just looking back over both of the Elden Ring official launch trailer, which came out about a week ago, like right around when the game came out. And then the story trailer, which came out a month ago. And then I'm looking back at the different bosses that are in the DLC. So between the story trailer and the gameplay trailer, the official launch trailer, they spoil over half of the bosses that are in the Elden Ring DLC. Like you see them like in the video. Now you don't like see their fight necessarily, but like they're in the video and then like you do fight them in the game. So like that was kind of the big thing that my friends were concerned about being spoiled about was the bosses of the DLC.
You're like, it's already common knowledge.
Yeah, like a lot of it is already common knowledge. Now that being said, like the final boss, you know, is not in those. Some of like the crazy ass bosses aren't in there. So, you know, not everything is spoiled, but like there's a lot of stuff that does already get spoiled even before the game is out.
And do you feel like anything, do you feel like you lose something if a game like Elden Ring has things spoiled? Like, do you feel like you lose something on the experience?
I think the difference for me is, and Katie, I sort of agree with your word of mouth thing. It's very different to me how something gets spoiled. And I think it comes down to like the people that I trust. Like if one of my friends was like, yo, there's this fight later that's like super cool. And, I don't know if I'd want him to be like, hey, you should try doing this in the battle. But I don't know, like if he kind of dropped me like a little, you know, sort of like a little hype thing. If he like said something just to be like, oh, the fight's like super cool. You know, definitely make sure you check out like this area of the map. You know, being like, hey, there's a cool fight out there, to me isn't really like a spoiler. It just plays into the sort of like hype of the situation.
And the community aspect.
And part of that, but like if somebody on the internet had said that, I would have been like, fuckers.
Don't tell me.
Don't tell me. Another good example, and this actually came with the Elden Ring DLC. So one of the quest lines, two of the quest lines for two of the NPCs are connected. And the one guy, you can choose to either give him like an Eye of Grace or an Eye of Night. Essentially like an Eye of Light or an Eye of Night. One of the guys, two of the NPCs, one of them you want to give the light one, and one of them you want to give the night one. But I only had the night one, and I gave the night one to the light guy. And he was like, no, why would you do this? And then he like died and gave me an item.
Oh.
And I was like, oh, that seems bad. And then I found the night person later, and I gave him the light eye, and they were like, why would you do this? And then they died too. And I was like, well, I feel like I did both of these wrong.
Oh, no.
So I wanted to tell my one friend, like, hey, you're going to find this item. You should do the quest lines in reverse so that like we can see the cool stuff that you get from doing it in reverse. But he was like, whoa, no spoilers, no spoilers, no spoilers. And I was like, dickhead, we're doing this together. Like, I know you don't want spoilers here, but I think it's a cooler part of the experience if we like sacrifice some of our individuality on the spoilers here for a better like collective group experience.
That's a really good way of putting it.
Right, because like I don't feel any sort of connectivity with like random people on the internet, mainly because there's a bunch of like turbo nerds who I wouldn't trust to like, keep my house locked up at night. But for like my friends in real life, we're sort of experiencing this as a group, and that's where I sort of feel like the spoilers are a little bit less like serious.
Right.
Or like, hey, I know if I'm spoiling something for them or they're spoiling something for me, it's
for
because
a good reason.
Yeah, it's for a good reason. Like we're trying to experience something unique as part of that.
That's a good point versus like the individuality versus the collective. I think we've talked before about how gaming or media consumption of any kind can be a very collective experience. And I think that I think it's very special when it can be a collective experience, but there are times when I'm very jealous of it being an individual experience. And when it comes for me, like puzzle games and mystery games, collective experiences all day. I want as many brains as possible helping me out, figuring things out, and sharing in the discovery with me. But when it comes to a more linear narrative game, I'm like, nobody tell me anything. This is my story. And I'm like, I want to be an individual about it and not have any kind of collective experience.
Do you, when you have that experience to yourself, though, do you then like go look at reviews and things like that afterwards?
Sometimes, usually, fortunately, being in a gamer family, I usually have somebody that I can talk to about it.
Sure.
Otherwise, I journal. Like, I write down what I think about it, and that gives me the catharsis of, like, talking it through.
Sure. I was thinking of, like, games that you could spoil for me right now that I would not care. So, like, there's a new Doom game coming out. And there's nothing that you could tell me about that that you could tell literally if I had all of the knowledge of that game, I would still play. Like, I don't think it would impact my enjoyment at all. And of like the new, it's like set in the medieval times or whatever, but like there's nothing. I feel no preciousness to like spoilers for Doom.
Doesn't
there's no story.
And I think the funny thing about Doom too is I think sometimes Doom gets more hype the better it's spoiled.
Yeah.
Like, didn't the trailer for that game have like a chainsaw sword?
Yep.
Like if somebody didn't know anything about that game and you're like, hey, you hear the new Doom game has a chainsaw sword? They're gonna go, that's sick as fuck. When do I get to play? Like,
and yeah,
they don't care.
And sometimes I definitely have interacted with things only because they were spoiled for me, that I would not have otherwise interacted with. So I'm going to spoil right now a movie called The Babadook.
Oh, I
which
love
came
The
out in like
Babadook.
2016, which came out in like 2016 or something like that. Have you guys seen The Babadook?
Yes.
So I'm going to spoil it for you, Seth. So the conceit is that it's a monster, but because it's a metaphor for depression, she doesn't kill the monster at the end. She just has to manage the monster. And that's like the thing about that movie. And like, I think you are meant to experience that, but I don't like horror enough to just be interested in The Babadook because it's a monster movie. So I had to have that spoiled for me in order for me to be interested in watching it in the first place. And so, that's why I say it's so arbitrary. Like when I do want spoilers, when I don't want spoilers, I think it's mostly the personal connection. I don't have many gaming friends to have that experience in real time playing a video game. Like for me, that is very rare. And so when you were talking about like that it is a communal experience, and so you can sacrifice some of your own personal enjoyment of spoilers in order to like give other people an experience that they did not have access to because of the ways the quests were laid out, or like your example was that you want them to do a certain way so then you can see what you guys missed. I simply do not have enough video game friends in real life that I would have that experience with. So like my version of that is trying to play it so I can listen to my favorite reviewers online talk about it. But yeah, I'm trying to think, like It Takes Two, because I have to play that with other people. there's like a preservation of joy. So like there's mechanics that I have not told Katie about, for example, because I want to preserve that joy for them. But like I don't know. And I think it's interesting because video games are so puzzle based and because there's so many different things that can happen, there's really no facsimile for any other kind of experience. Like I'm not going to go to a movie and then someone else experiences something different that I want them to tell me about. Like once you either see the movie or you don't see the movie. And before you see the movie, it's a dick thing to spoil it. And then once you see the movie, it doesn't matter because you've both experienced the same thing. Where in video games, that's not the case at all. You can do what you just did and ask someone to have a slightly different experience than you so you guys can know what's going on. And that's just such a foreign that's so far away from my lived experience that I think it's interesting. I think it's a lot more social and like there's a lot richer experience that has the capability of that happening. But I just I don't have that kind of in-person video game community.
That makes sense. You really struck me with that communal versus individual experience, like, because that is really what it comes down to, like with spoilers and stuff, or wanting to experience it for myself first before I watch someone else play it, or like not wanting to play certain kinds of games. Like I wouldn't want to play Horizon Zero Dawn communally with anybody, like couch co-op, because I want to make all the choices for what I upgrade and how I upgrade my skill tree and how I do all of the things. So it's very much my experience, my way, don't want to share it, individualistic sort of approach. Sometimes to the point of, well, this person would like to play this game with me that way, like, and we could have fun if I would let them do that, but I won't let them do that because it's more important to me to preserve my discovery and experience. And I'm like, oh, that's interesting to think about.
Would you do that on a second playthrough?
I would do it on a second playthrough, absolutely. That's why I won't play Baldur's Gate co-op, because I want to explore. I want to experience all the dialogue, and I want to explore all of the quests, and I don't want to share it with anybody.
That's
no sharing.
It's not like I think Katie's take here is like less controversial of one than it seems, right? Like there's obviously a big difference between like, oh, hey, you're walking down the main street in your hometown and it's just you. Oh, hey, maybe I'm gonna like pop into my favorite shop and take a look around and then just kind of go wander for a little bit, versus like, oh, it's you and your significant other, and now all of a sudden, like, we got to go to some store that like I don't really like, but I know they like going to, like,
to consider them and bring them into it. And...
right. It's a whole process, versus if you're just, doing it by yourself, you can just kind of, you have more ownership over it. And sometimes you just want that, right? Sometimes you just want like hey, I don't want to like my Elden Ring weekend, right? Like, hey, I love my girlfriend. I'm happy to like sit down with her. She's happy to sit down with me and play games sometimes. But sometimes I'm like, hey, I literally just want to take this weekend to play Elden Ring. And sure, it's like a selfish thing, but also,
okay.
Yeah. Also, like, you're free to join me in this experience, but like,
that's what I tell my husband all the time. I'm like, well, I'm going to go upstairs and play video games. You're welcome to come with me.
It's like, I know you got better things to do, but like,
yeah, I know you want to watch your movie, but you're welcome.
Do you have a term for when someone is watching video games with you? I call that bored girlfriend syndrome.
Oh, no.
Where when you watch someone else play video games.
I wish Will would like to watch me play video games. That'd be great. It's not the case.
I also think I have a different relationship with this than Seth does, because I don't watch playthroughs. Like, I will never, like, if I wanted to play Dark Souls, the only time I use playthroughs are if I'm stuck because I'm bad at geography in a video game. Like Another Crab's Treasure, there's a couple times where I was like, okay, where do I go next? Because the areas were more circular than I realized they were. So like, I don't watch playthroughs. And so any game most of the games that I play, I will have watched like less than 5 minutes of footage from, like at most. Whereas if you watch a playthrough, that's like watching hours of footage from, and so that's just really different. But I don't watch
Streamers?
I also don't watch streamers.
I will only watch a streamer if they're playing something that I've already played or something that I have zero interest in watching or in playing myself. So like I watch the Gamers Drink stream, Elden Ring and Hollow Knight because I'm never going to play Elden Ring and I've already played Hollow Knight. But when he was streaming Detroit Become Human, I jumped out of that stream so fucking fast. I was like, nope. No. And then I was watching this cozy gamer. He streams Zelda at night. His name is Big Fish or something like that. He streams Zelda at night and cozy games in the morning. He's a teacher too. Oh my God, we should have him on the show. Sorry. But he was streaming a little to the left, and I bounced off that game hardcore because I'm really bad at pattern recognition, and I could not figure out how to sort things, and I was not having fun with it. But watching him play it, I could be like, well, maybe it's this, and I would like type in the chat, like, have you tried this? And like we would talk in the chat, and we would like type in the chat together, and it was the perfect way for me to engage with that game. And it was completely spoiling it for me, which was fine because I have no intention of ever playing it.
I was gonna say, like, Katie's like backseating this guy in his Twitch stream. That's crazy to admit live.
No, everybody. No, he welcomes it. He wants the chat to. No, he said that. It's in his chat description. And he'll be like, "What do you guys think we should do?" I wouldn't backseat unless somebody invited it. God. Offended.
Have you ever had something spoiled and it made you want to play it more?
Probably. I mean, sort of part of the conversation we had earlier. Something like Outer Wilds. I mean, like I probably wouldn't have considered playing Outer Wilds unless somebody was like, I don't know if I've really had Outer Wilds like spoiled because I haven't played it and I haven't like really looked at, but like I kind of get the idea of what's happening in Outer Wilds. And almost there's this sort of like meta level of somebody recommending Outer Wilds to me and being like, it sort of has like a beginner's guide style vibe, kind of like helps me to understand what's going on.
Sure.
Like there's this sort of like meta spoiler of if you're recommending me to this, I like kind of know why.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
For me with specifically Outer Wilds, I had already decided I didn't want to play it, and then having it spoiled for me made it okay that I don't play it. So thank you for that, Dempsey.
It's
Appreciate
still
that freedom. I don't want to.
Yeah, actually based as hell.
Yeah, I feel so bad I spoiled Outer Wilds for you.
No, I was not enjoying it. I wasn't. I wanted to. It's everything on paper I should like, but I wasn't enjoying it. The movement was too frustrating and made me motion sick.
Yeah. That's how I feel. You know what game I was okay with having spoiled because of, except with the motion control, like with the motion, for me it was I was too afraid to play it. Subnautica.
Oh yeah.
I was too afraid to finish that game, and so
really scary.
I was happy, but I wanted to see what the big monsters look like. So I watched someone else played it, but that game's like really scary.
That's like I need to play Soma on the Daddy Can I Play level. Like there's a way you can do it without. Where it's story mode only, and I need to do that because I tried playing it by the regular way, and I was so afraid that I was staring at a corner because if you look at the monster, it can find you, and I could tell that it was really close to me, and I was like, I'm gonna stare at this corner. I'm like, Katie, you have to go somewhere. You can't live in this corner. Like this is exactly what I would be like in a real survival situation. Oh my god. Oh, okay. I think we're at time, y'all.
Yeah. Okay. I have one final thought.
Okay.
I think that mostly it's good to be sensitive about spoilers. That is where I fall. I definitely err on the side of being more sensitive to spoilers most of the time, because obviously most of the time I'm talking about things that I will maybe want to play, or like seeking out media about things I want to play. Like I will watch a Mario essay, and then if they talk about Wonder, I will click off because I haven't played that game yet. A lot of my video, like Daryl Talks Games, talked about Inscription one time, and I had to click off that because I haven't played Inscription yet. So yeah, I err on the side of being more sensitive to spoilers personally.
Yeah, I think so too. And that was just a really different take on it that I hadn't thought about, with the like communal versus individual kind of expectations with experiencing a new game. And I think it makes me think about it a little differently, and to want to be more kind of evaluate a little bit more when I come up to something that I'm like, okay, this is a game that I know other people I know are going to be playing, and kind of weighing how much does the need for it to be my own experience that I own and discover by myself, like how much does that matter versus being able to share in a collective experience. And then kind of, I think there's a balance there that you can have a shared experience and still keep that soul of discovery intact. But my knee jerk is to just want to be an individualist, because from the Western world, probably.
American moment.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, it's just I don't know. It's just spoiler culture in general for me is kind of one of those things that just like doesn't bother me that much. But like I can get from like where our conversation went, like the concerns that you guys would have about like, hey, I do value, if you value that like individualistic experience, which like you're allowed to. I'm not, obviously not saying that you can't. Then like there's definite value in you being like, hey, I just want to like tackle this myself.
Mm-hmm.
I just wish sometimes that we could look at that and say like, hey, could we be like meet in a middle ground and see like what's the communal experience?
Could we relax a little bit about it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not trying to tell you that like Snape kills Dumbledore here. I'm telling you that Harry Potter's in the movie and like it's in the name.
That's it. I might bleep that out.
No, what the Snape kills Dumbledore is like the most joked about spoiler of all time.
Okay.
Actually, backtrack. You should bleep that out, but maybe only the first time.
Okay.
Because then it's funny.
Okay.
Okay.
We'll see how.
Or
we'll
both of them, just because it's...
We'll see how motivated I am.
Yeah, by the end of the episode.
Yeah. All right, y'all. Thank you so much for joining us. This has been Overthinking Games, a podcast about what video games can teach us. Thanks for joining us. If you have thoughts about spoilers, the DLC for Elden Ring, or whatever else, you can shoot us an email. Our email is in the show notes. And you can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. We're also on TikTok. You can go and look at a video where Dempsey got completely ratioed because the comment was taken out of context. And yeah, we'll catch you next time. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. You got in the comments, which surprised me.
Wait, Katie, did you go on your personal account?